Hey there. So I've made a couple of threads on the Steam forums about modding Star Valor, and as opposed to just having the in-depth walkthroughs being the only means of showing my work to implement the mods that I talked about, I figured I would do a quick video walkthrough here from blank slate to finish implementation of all of the mods or the modifications and changes that I've talked about in my various threads. So, except this is for Star Valor. The current version is, I believe, 2.0.9, so that's what we're working with. I have used Steam to re-verify the integrity of the cache or the game installation, so it has downloaded new versions of the files that we will modify, because we are going in and directly modifying a file. This is not an override. This is directly going into the game files themselves and tinkering around with variables. So that means that every time there is an update, I need to go back in and redo all these things. And if you like these changes, you will have to do that as well. But it also means that I've done these changes quite frequently, so I've gotten pretty used to them. Until someone comes up with an easier to implement mod solution that, is a drag and drop override. If there is, as of yet, I don't know of it. And even that being said, it's such a relatively quick, easy, and painless couple of modifications that I just assume not wait on anyone to make these changes for me whenever there's a fresh update to the game if I really feel like playing and getting back into it. So that being said, like I said, this is with Star Valor's current version as of 2.0.9, and we're going to need a mod tool to get access to go in and tinker under the hood. The tool that was recommended by me and the one that I continue to use is called dnSpy, and you can get it on GitHub. So here's a fresh incognito tab, dnSpy, GitHub, search for that. Hey, there we go, GitHub. Just open the releases tab. And what you're looking for here is version 6.1.8, which you can tell by looking at it was from December 7th, 2020. Now, the reason I bring this up is because other people have brought up, I guess, that they've gone looking for dnSpy, and I guess they've gotten a hold of other versions. Apparently, there are unofficial continuations, forks of this, and the only reason I bring that up is because some people have complained that, hey, I can't use dnSpy, it's being flagged as a virus or a Trojan. So, from my understanding from someone else who apparently looked into this more so than I did, apparently one of the forks somewhere out there did get a little hot, but it's not this version. This is the classic original dnSpy, which has been archived because there's currently no ongoing development for it. So yeah, it is a few years out of date, but also it does the job done for what we're needing to do here. So, you know, download 32-bit or 64-bit. God, is anyone even still using 32-bit OSs anymore? Anyways, if you're playing Star Valor, you're probably not. So get a hold of this, 64-bit. It's a zip file. Yeah, extract that archive however you want. If you're incredibly green and new to all of this, um, it's a zip file, so it's not even that hard. I believe Windows should be able to extract the archive itself. If not, WinRAR or my personal favorite, 7-zip are free, easy to use file extraction archival programs that you can then use to then extract that file to a folder in which will allow the contents to be usable. Now, I've already done that. So we're just going to, there's my dnSpy exe. We're going to open that up. Here it is, dnSpy version 6.1.8, 64-bit version. Okay, now we need to file, open. Now it already opens up to the installation directory because this is literally the only thing I use this for. But you can tell looking here from the directory, what you need to is you need to go to wherever your Star Valor game is installed. In my case, that's the installation drive, and then it's the rest of the regular standard Steam rigmarole. So Steam Library, Steam Apps, Commons, Star Valor. Within the Star Valor directory, Star Valor _ data, and then manage. And within that managed file is the file you want here, assembly c#.dll, which if things are in alphabetical order, should be right here at the top. But if not, sorting things by alphabetical order will find it real quick for you. So open assembly C#. Okay, cool. So you can see you have nested hierarchies over on the left. This will end up being like the meat of what you'll see here on the top. And the bottom down here is this is a search bar. But I honestly can't remember whether or not this is saving changes that I've made. Your dnSpy not necessarily look like this off the bat. So just in case it doesn't, there should be, okay, so yeah. So here, search assemblies, which is Control-Shift-K, is the shortcut, which presumably would open up this window down here if it didn't exist already. That's how you get to the search tool. If all else fails, search assemblies, and see it opens up right here. So the first thing we're going to do is just type in level up. Okay, you can see there's two instances of level up here. One's with the slightly different casing. Use the one here at the top that's associated with the player character. You can right click and go to reference. This is going to take you into the file itself, where the developer is in here, here it is. This is the guts, this is the actual code. So we can't just change it from here though. And if I remember correctly, okay, this is the section of code you want. Like I said, as of version 2.0.9, starting here at line 369, skill.skillPoints ++ semicolon. Okay, so to make changes here, select this line 369, just make sure your cursor is in it, and then right click and select edit class. Here we go. Here's where we can actually go in now and start to modify and tinker with things. Now, I'm not a programmer, never claimed to be a programmer. So I had asked, and other people on the Steam forums very kindly pointed me towards these variables when I wanted to give myself extra skill points. So someone else did the work of pointing this all out for me. I've just continued to implement it, update after update after update, and wrote that out too on the forums. But anyways, what you want to do is on this line 369, this skill points ++, you want to delete one of the pluses, make it equal space 2. And again, not a programmer, so don't quote me on this, but what I believe this is doing is that this is indicating, if you see below it, this is, because we're going to change something on this line as well, 371. This all has to deal with the skill resets. And changing it to this means that I believe that whenever you do reset your skills, it'll give you 2 skills per level. If you didn't change this and changed one of the other variables that gave you 2 skills, and say you go to level 50 and you got 100 skills, well, if you use a reset, if you don't change this, then you could potentially reset yourself at level 50 and have 50 skills. Lose half of them. Having twice as many skills doesn't do you any good if the game doesn't remember that you should have twice as many skills when you reset. I believe this is what it's doing, because the line just below it, here at 371, this is the variable for changing the frequency of how often you get the skill resets. Normally you get them every 20 levels, so you'd be at level 20 and level 50. Like I said, I don't remember exactly how this works, but as someone smarter than me and understands programming explained it to me, that's what this represents. And so if you were to change this to 50, you'd only get it at level 50. If you change it to 10, well, now you're getting it every 10 levels. So by the time you get to level 50, you will have had 5 skill resets. For me, I just delete the 0, keep it at 2. you're gonna get a skill reset every other level, which is plenty, and it's fun for allowing you to bounce back and forth and make changes. Build yourself one way for like leveling up and mining, and then easily reset yourself into dogfighting, if you want. So that's that. So that was 369 and 371. Just above this, here we go, line 341. This dot skill points equals this dot level. This is how many from what I understand, this is how many skills you'll actually get per level. And to make this twice as many, it's as simple as going here at the end, between level and the semicolon, space, asterisk 2, or space, asterisk, space 2. Which means how many skill points you're getting is this level multiplied by 2. If you remember your high school level math classes. And then, so that's what that should do. Now, the other one is a bit tricky. It's always down here at the end. And since, as the game continues to go through development, more and more stuff gets added into the middle of it. This bit of code is basically on the header, or the footer, really, of this. And so the more stuff that keeps getting added, this part of the code keeps getting bumped down further and further and further. I've had to update the how-to a number of times since I originally wrote it. But here, as is currently at line 943, public int skill points equals 1. Change that to 2. From what I've seen from, I guess, other people maybe potentially having a problem with this, not being able to do this might make it so you start level 1 with a single skill point instead of 2, but that should be what fixes it, because I believe that's what that does. But anyways, we've made all those changes. Now, they aren't saved yet. Like, first you need to compile it and make sure there's no errors. And if you've made these very simple changes exactly as I demonstrated or told you to, it should compile without error. It should all be good code. Like, we're not introducing any errors. We're just, within the parameters of the code, changing how it's adding and multiplying the numbers without doing anything too extravagant. So compile. Okay, hey, look at that, compiled without problems. Now, we're still not done yet, because that's the level up stuff, and if that's all you want, that's fine and dandy. But something else I did start, else I was curious about looking into, it was the starting points that you get whenever starting a new game. So yeah, if you did search on here and in the search bar put in starting points, that's what we want. The function calculate total starting points, just like last time. Right click, go to reference. Here it is. Now this is currently on line 342, but as you can see, it's in a different part or a different file. But anyway, that's why we use the search function down here. And what we're looking here in 342, this dot starting points equals parentheses, this new game setup difficulty -1 question mark 5, and same thing except 1 question mark 2. Now, if you're all familiar with the starting a new game in Star Valor, you'll know that there's basically the easy setting, normal, and hard. And normal doesn't have any bonuses to the starting points one way or the other, but easy gets you a bonus of 5, and hard gets you a bonus of 2. So you notice there's a correlation here between difficulty -1 and the 5 here, and the difficulty 1 and the 2 here. These are, in fact, controlling the amount of starting points you get on easy and hard. Notice that there's no section here for normal. Presumably because it's just at 0, it doesn't need to be changed or modified. We are going to change and modify. Now this is going to be a bit trickier. So just like last time, select the line 342 and right click edit class. Okay, so here we go. So again, I'm not a programmer. I don't understand what the computer here is doing, but I managed to trial and error my way to a solution that did what I wanted to without spitting up any compiling orders. And I'm going to show you how to do it in case you wanted to make any changes here so that you can start with whatever perks you want, or whatever perks that you've unlocked and have access to without having to worry about fitting it all under a point cap. So, hey, like, if you want, a good NPC co-pilot, and you want to start in the Zeus Dreadnought, and you want to have a bunch of, +2 penalty, the good starting perks to go with it, sure, man, go frickin' knock yourself out. It's a single-player game. No one cares. Okay, so just for funsies, we can go in here and just add a 2, and now look at that. Now easy will start you with 25. Just, add a 2, and now hard starts you 22. But there's a kind of a format here. So, there's the end parentheses, space, question mark, the number, space, colon, space. So we're going to copy this. Okay, and keeping in mind there should be a space between the colon and the start of another. Paste it there. So that, so at the end of this is the hard difficulty. So space, question mark, whatever number you put in, integer, space, colon, then space. Then this new game setup difficulty. Well, how do you make it normal? Well, if easy is -1 and hard's 1, turns out normal is 0. Okay, so this is now modifying starting skill points for 0. And we can make it whatever we want. Just for simplicity's sake, let's make it 20. So that way, easy still getting you a bonus of 5, and hard still gets you a bonus of 2. In comparison to 20. 25, 22, and 20. But then also, so whatever integer you want, space, colon, space again, like just how it was formatted originally. And here's the thing that took me a while to figure out. So you have this 0, I don't know what the 0 is doing, and there's 2 close bracket parentheses. Add an extra close bracket parentheses. Make sure that there's 3 there. And if you do this, as long as this is all spaced properly, you've added in with the extra space, you followed the format, you just changed, the -1 or the 1 to a 0. Make sure you have all your proper spaces where you should be having them. And as long as there's 3 closed brackets here, if you hit compile, should save it without issue. Now, to make sure these changes actually implemented the game, we still have one final step, and that is going up here to File, Save All. And again, it's going to give you a warning, because again, this is directly overwriting our changes onto the original file. This is not a mod folder overwrite. This is directly tinkering under the hood. So again, anytime this game ever gets updated, anytime you verify the integrity of the cache, all this work will need to be redone. Likewise, if you've somehow made a mistake, or you don't like the changes, or you want to change them again, or you'd rather just play vanilla, asking Steam to verify the integrity of the installation will also re-download the vanilla version of the file and to whatever it should be for that version of Star Valor. But we just hit OK to save it. All right, now let's ask Steam to fire up Star Valor. Okay, new game. So here we go. Yeah, starting setup, starting points 20, relaxed, starting points 25, and hardcore, starting points 22. There it is, that works. And as you can see down here from the bottom right, version 2.0.9. And if I load up one of my games, okay, level 49, and open up the character, there you go. I have way too many skill points. At 100 skill points, you can put, if you wanted to, you could put 18 into each and every one of these skill trees, which means that you'd be able to get all of the higher tier, these require 5 of each, and the capstone skill, which requires at least 15. Plus, you'll be able to fill out the entire bottom here if you want, and then still have 4 left over that you could dump either all into, say, power capacitors, or you could split them up or dump them into weaponry or scanners or bargain or what have you. This particular build I kind of skipped on social because I was doing a lone wolf run and didn't plan on having any ships, which makes this entire section here utterly useless. But you still want Master and Commander because you still want your people to level up quicker and better. So yeah. But anyways, yeah, here it is working, and I had been playing with an earlier previous modified version, which is why I have so many skill points. But likewise, if I hit the reset skill button now, there it is. I'm level 49, and there's my 98 skill points. When I hit level 50, I'll get an extra 2 more, and I'll have a flat even 100. So there you go. That's how to double your skill points, modify your skill resets, make sure that it's working properly when you do skill reset, and change your starting points using dnSpy version 6.1.8 in Star Valor. That's how you do it. That's how you get under the hood. Alright, so for anyone who's been having trouble with this, I hope this ended up being, helpful for you. It's a bit more, perhaps easier to follow than, good God, the word spaghetti that is trying to have a non-programmer explain programming to another non-programmer, because I don't understand this. I'm just following the method. I barely understand what's going on. So, hope you found this useful.